What we do on site is our environmental management plans, which controls how we work on site. From there, we will have environmental risk assessments and risk registers, looking at all the impacts we're going to have on the client. That will be noise, dust, vibration. Moving on to environmental then, again is water pollution, how we de-water the site and ensure that the concrete we're using does not cause any pollution issues on the project.
At the start of the project, we looked to set out a compound plan such as this, which will detail the areas, and basically it's trying to get a strategy for the optimal location for each of these areas. So as you can see here, the skip area will be kept away, from other areas of the site. We have various material storage areas laid out here, and that's basically for the protection of those materials. The site has an emergency plan in order to deal with any spillage events. It's important that we respond effectively and immediately to any adverse impacts. So we have the plan from project commencement. The guys on site are trained in how to deal with any kind of spillage, and we would rehearse that as well. We have various amounts of spillage equipment on site, and that will consist of spill kits, which are stored in accessible wheelie bins and are labelled so that everybody knows where they are. We also have a specific spill team trained on site in order to attend to any kind of emergency. We also have a tie-in with a third party which will come and attend to site if there is a larger spill that we're unable to manage on site.
The reason the booms are in the river is in the event of an oil spill, they're already there to contain the oil as it comes downstream, and it can be dealt with from there.
Our actual fuel tanks are interly bonded Bowsers, which means that the external tank is capable of containing 110% of the inner tank. We also have spill kits then located adjacent to the refuelling area.
The response spill kit we have there is in the event of any oil spills. We've got pads and mattresses and all sorts of bits and pieces here that we can mop up any minor spills there and then before it gets into the ground. All our staff are trained on oil response, and obviously if there was a major response, that takes it into a different level. We would need to get the experts in to deal with major oil spills.
What we do on this project is try and keep our contractors and our supply chain as close as possible. That means we bring in these people here. The map of Northern Ireland is where we're using now. The contractors and suppliers, we have 53% of them within a 10-mile radius of this site.
We operate a site waste management plan on this site. As part of that site waste management plan, we have forecast the waste that we anticipate that we will be producing. We'll also set actions to minimise waste. All of our hazardous materials are stored in a secure and sealed bin that's labelled as hazardous waste. Once we have accumulated enough hazardous waste, we will use a specialist contractor to remove that.
To help the environment and to keep a tidy site, we segregate our waste into what is reusable, mainly timber and metal, and then keep the general waste separate. The general waste as well from the office gets separated into paper and cardboard and tins.
The security on the site, it's controlled by a gate man. You don't get on unless you have gone through that induction process, so everybody's aware of environmental issues. We also hold then environmental toolbox talks on a fortnightly basis. So again, just to reinforce the environmental message so that everybody knows what we're trying to achieve. We also have a green travel plan for the site, and that includes initiatives to try to reduce the amount of single occupancy vehicles that are coming to site. So we'll have permits for people who are parking on site, and the permits are given to people where the vehicle is shared rather than a single occupancy, so it's a disincentive for people to be journeying to work in a single occupancy vehicle.
We meet SEPA on a monthly basis. We submit method statements and one thing and another to them so they know in advance what sort of work we're going to be doing, and if there's any issues, the issues are addressed early to prevent any delays or whatever on the project.
So in order to avoid any unnecessary nuisance impacts as a result of noise or dust, or vibration. We do a series of monitoring on the sites. For example, we do dust monitoring, and that's on a monthly basis, and we would do water quality monitoring on a regular basis as well.
Because we're in the remediation centre here, the lorries that go back and forward out the remediation centre, to prevent them carting dirt onto the public highway, we've got the Rhino wheel wash here. Gives the wheels a wash, the vehicle down before it enters onto the highway.
The site does, in order to manage our impacts for groundwater and surface water, we have a surface water management plan which has been drawn up for the project at the start of the job prior to us actually commencing on site. And that basically details the procedures and practices that the site team have to follow in order to manage water effectively.
On a project of this nature, when you're working next to a river, there's other constraints that have to be taken into consideration. And when we designed the programme around the various constraints that we knew about, at certain times during the spawning periods that we're not allowed to be working in rivers or burns. Also, the bird breeding season, nesting season has to be considered, and times when you might be working alongside otters. But these things have all got to be taken into consideration.